Welcome to another episode of Boardroom Conversations, the WATPROP business podcast. Today we're going to be unpacking the story of Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme originally was started in the US in 1937 and came to South Africa with Gerry Thomas and his partner in 2015. Krispy Kreme is that hot, delicious donut that is often enjoyed with a cup of coffee. They sell well over 6,000 dozen donuts a day in South Africa, and they do about 12,000 dozen donuts on a day like Valentine's Day. Thank you for joining us for another boardroom conversation as we unbox the Krispy Kreme story. I'm your host, Justin Watkins. Just a quick one, before this episode begins, I'd really encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. We're on YouTube and Spotify, Boardroom Conversations, the WATPROP Business Podcast. Please also go follow us on LinkedIn to keep up to date with the latest episodes. Thank you. Gerry, first of all, thank you so much for joining us for the Boardroom Conversation today. I really appreciate the opportunity. You've brought us some sweet treats to enjoy afterwards. So I'm going to have to definitely exercise some self-control here while we're talking. But yeah, first of all, thank you so much for joining me today and just unpacking the Krispy Kreme story in South Africa. It's an incredible brand, not only in South Africa, but also globally. It's a well-established brand that's been around for many, many years. But just as a starting point, in your personal capacity, just walk us through a story that ultimately led to you starting Krispy Kreme with your partner in 2015 or so.
Thanks for having me. It was a bit of a right place, right time, or right place moment. So we were involved in a business that had franchise hospitality, sold out roughly 2012. Within a restraint of trade period that we weren't able to do what we knew how to do, I got a call from the US trade desk at the consulate. So, hey, listen, we've done a bit of research. We see you're in the industry. Do you know Krispy Kreme, and are you willing to chat to them because they want to enter the South African market? And I said, I absolutely do know Krispy Kreme. My first experience with them was in the UK. They had a production line inside Harrods. So it was quite a game-changing move out of the US, and engaged with Krispy Kreme, and the rest is history. That was roughly early 2014, put together a joint venture arrangement about 6 months after that, and rights were confirmed in early 2015 that we were the preferred bidders for the exclusive license. And we opened the Rosebank shop in November 2015.
What type of process did you actually go through when you did have to bid? Was it quite a competitive process, or just walk us through that process?
So, I mean, we weren't privy to who we were competing against, but there were certainly other bidders. I would say the other bidders were more institutional, more, established players in the industry. We had sold out, so we had really no infrastructure. We were just looking for the next big idea. So that's where we put a joint venture together, and we partnered with a company where we shared their resources and the ability to put this together. I think what maybe gave us the edge over the other bidders was just our entrepreneurial spirit, our keenness, our willingness to put this together. And funny, we probably underpromised. So we didn't tell Krispy Kreme that South Africa was a market that they could have huge footprint, and we could open everywhere, and donuts would resonate with the entire population. Our addressable population is small. It's concentrated in 3 major metros and 3 sub-metros. So we were quite honest with them, and we just gave them a plan that we believe would grow the brand in a methodical way, establish the brand, ensure brand love, and once the whole honeymoon and hype of Krispy Kreme was over, we would have a sustainable business. Yeah.
So Krispy Kreme obviously is a very, very well-known brand, not only globally, but also in South Africa itself.
Yeah.
Just Krispy Kreme, for those who don't know, what is Krispy Kreme?
So Krispy Kreme is an American donut brand established in 1937 in North Carolina. What makes it different is that the methodology or the product or the ingredients, it's a yeast-raised donut. So it begins its life as a small little dough ball, and it grows with humidity and hot air, and it's a light product as opposed to a heavy donut product which we traditionally used to. So that makes it different. The glaze, the ingredients that go into the glaze, and the machinery that makes it. So that all came out of the States, 1937. That was a big point of difference then. That's what obviously accelerated growth for the brand in the US and made it what it is today. And it's now established in over 40 countries. The good news story about South Africa is that for 3 years running, market insights have told us we're the number one retail sweet treat brand in the country. So that's good news.
Sure. So obviously being a donut, it's very popular at events. It's not really something that we share in an individual capacity.
Yeah.
Obviously, like a market like America, where it's far more individualistic, South Africa's got a very strong community around eating donuts together.
Yeah.
So walk us through a little bit about how Krispy Kreme has built a culture around sharing a donut with someone that you love instead of sharing it individualistic.
So ultimately, our brand is about recognizing occasions, celebrations, and sharing moments, and being able to support those from a sweet treat point of view in a trustworthy way. So, freshness, excellence, etc., etc. So we communicate, we market, we strategically go for the adage that we're a sharing product. We sell in dozens, we sell in bulk, and the effect of Krispy Kreme in those sharing moments is ultimately what's going to resonate with the consumer. So that sharing moment just elevates the whole experience. Yeah.
And in order for people to actually share these moments with a Krispy Kreme, there's quite a complicated production and distribution process that is around that. Walk us through a little bit of the manufacturing, the production process that actually happens at Krispy Kreme, not only in Johannesburg itself, but just nationwide.
Yeah. You're 100% right. The background or the heartache that goes into making one donut and delivering fresh daily is pretty sophisticated and pretty complicated. So we manufacture and deliver fresh donuts daily within the region that we have production facilities. We have production facilities in Gauteng, KZN, and the Western Cape for now. So we only deliver in a 2.5 hour radius around there. We deliver fresh. So we manufacture and deliver fresh donuts daily. Whatever is not fresh that day is not sold. It is brought back. So we guarantee absolute freshness and we guarantee quality of product. Although the machinery is proprietary and the ingredients are proprietary, and the original glazed is a mechanized process, but all the other donuts that we make are handmade. So they're hand iced, hand dipped, hand topped, hand filled. So it's very artisanal in that respect, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of in terms of ingredients itself, are they all locally sourced or are they coming from overseas?
So the main ingredient, the dough mix, the donut dough mix is proprietary. It's sourced out of the UK. There are about 4 or 5 different licensed factories worldwide that have got the rights to make this product. We're in a process of getting it localized and manufactured in South Africa. Some of the fillings and some of the toppings are imported, but I'd say we probably said about 70% of our ingredients are local, and with the aim to take it to 100%.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So in terms of the future of with Krispy Kreme, in terms of providing greater access for people to actually get a Krispy Kreme donut, how are you guys thinking into the future in terms of actually delivering those donuts fresh to new markets in the country?
So, like I said, we're established in the 3 main metros. We have a number of formats. We've got shops. We have kiosks that are typically in shopping centres and maybe in high streets. We have what we call DFD cabinets, delivered fresh daily cabinets, in retailers, either petroleum convenience stores or mainstream supermarkets. And we have a program with Checkers where we have actually full experience kiosks within Checkers supermarkets. And that's really the accelerator to growth, the full experience kiosk inside Checkers, over and above the prepackaged donuts. And then the plan is in the short term is to take production and ultimately execute on retail in, we're going to open in the Southern Cape at the end of the year via George. We're looking at the Eastern Cape, the Free State, and in Mpumalanga in the next 3 to 4 years.
It's incredible. In terms of actually, now that you're going through a bit of a growth spurt in terms of providing greater access of donuts to people in South Africa, you're obviously going to need to hire more people. And one of the biggest things with a company like Krispy Kreme is culture. And just tell us a little bit more about the culture at Krispy Kreme that really provides a very authentic experience and unique experience for people to actually work at Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's more of a Krispy Kreme South Africa nuance. So we're big believers and protagonists that culture usurps strategy and is really the main driver of success. So we build obviously an enabling culture where our most valuable assets, being our human resources, can execute on what they need to execute on. We are a labor-intensive organization, and we've just got to, like I say, build that environment and that culture, and ingrain in our people what we're about, aligned to a set of values, aligned to the mission and the purpose of the brand. So what we've done quite well in South Africa is we've managed to marry our culture, what we believe in as the leadership of the business, with the brand's mission and purpose, and sort of overlap that in every aspect of the business. So whether it's in the manufacturing side, the retail side, the finance side, the human resource side, the marketing side, how we communicate, it's like a holistic approach to say that really the culture of the business and the brand is what drives every other aspect of it.
So just based on company culture, one of the biggest elements of company culture is providing an environment for people to give back, to social responsibility. What are some of the awesome social responsibility initiatives that Krispy Kreme does get involved in and that is very much entrenched in? Yeah,
so we're a big believer in giving back. We're a big believer in community and what surrounds us and what's directly involved in us, in our existence. We have two big initiatives. The first one, in terms of giving back, is our and very fortunate alignment with Reach for a Dream. I say fortunate because they are South Africa's most prestigious charitable organization. They've been around for over 30 years, and their mission is to execute on dreams and make for kids that are terminally ill. So we assist in that. We get involved in that, and we have a very strong relationship with them. And from the environmental side, which is also very important for us, we need to keep what we have intact, and at the moment it's actually counterproductive to business. You look at what goes on with the weather, whether you go through a heat wave or you go through. So we have a heat wave here, and our business suffers because we're not it's hard to be indulgent when it's really hot. It's better, we trade better in rain and in cold. And then you've got the UAE, but at the moment where there's floods and people can't get to their shops. So so it's important. The environment's important. So we believe in no landfill, recycling of all packaging, using biodegradable packaging, have all these programs in place, and most importantly, make our teams understand and buy into why we do it, and what the ultimate end goal is. Yeah.
And those considerations are incredibly important, especially if someone would like to start a business in South Africa.
Yeah.
Being it social, being it environmental, being it economic, financial, and all those other elements that normally go into business. And if someone if you had to give some advice to someone starting a business in South Africa, what would that advice be?
I think it would be to obviously, ultimately, and I mean, this is how we communicate, and it's ultimately in our business, our ultimate aim is to just generate sweet returns. Okay, we want to make a profit. Okay, we're in business. But there's a means to an end. And in order to get to that end, which is the ultimate goal, the sweet goal, it's more than just driving sales, revenue, productivity, efficiency. In order to get all those elements in place to make the business as profitable as you need to do, you've got to align to a set of values. You know, you've got to conduct your business how you want to conduct your life. So my advice would be just to not just see it as a business, but see it as an extension of what you do, what you believe in, and what you want to get to at the end. Yeah, both from a personal and business point of view. I think it's all come together. Yeah.
So to understand the impact of being an extension of yourself in terms of your actual business that you start.
Yeah.
I think one of the stories that really stands out for me on your guys' side in terms of running a business that's an extension of yourself is the amazing story of finding Theo.
Yeah.
Just unpack that story for us a little bit.
Yeah, so that story is important for us because what it showed was that one of our employees and a very important employee of ours who was running the Rosebank factory shop and joined us from day one, quickly aligned into our belief system, into our value system, and what we believe in. So it was the positive part for me is that we have this employee that straight away saw what the brand is, straight away understood what the brand was about and executed. So we had a young disabled gentleman that came into the shop, and Jason, the shop manager at the time, who's part of our senior management team at the moment, recognized the fact that this child was in awe. It was his first donut experience, and he took him around and showed him the whole manufacturing process and gave him the opportunity to top and fill some of his donuts, etc., etc. There was some public aspect to that, so it went onto our social media channels, and a wheelchair company, Access Mobility, picked up on the comms and saw that this wheelchair was not the right fit and etc. for the child. And so that just showed that we were able to impart what we wanted to impart on our team. It got through to our community, and the community and Krispy Kreme pulled together to pull off a situation where we eventually, so by the way, we didn't know where Theo was. We didn't know how to get hold of Theo. So we went onto a campaign, find Theo, and together with a wheelchair company, we found Theo and we executed it. That's the story. But why it's important for us, like I said, is that we were able to get our team to see and execute without our input. And that was in the early days.
Yeah.
So they really understood what the brand was about. Not about pushing donut sales and coffee sales, about community, values, and culture.
And being in business for such a long time and seeing those amazing stories, it truly makes make you sense what business is truly about. It's about ultimately giving back to those that are less fortunate than ourselves.
Correct.
So just to leave our listeners with a final point, if you had to have one kind of business quote or business story apart from finding Theo as an inspirational story, what would you leave our listeners with in terms of just business advice, even if it's short and sweet, like a donut? What would you leave our listeners with?
It would be more about the power of community for me, and how we would need, and this is something I only realized more being involved with Krispy Kreme, how we need to take it to grassroots and get involved with the community, get involved with those around us that support us, as being the basic way of executing, and then the rest I think falls into place. Yeah. So for me, it's community.
Yeah. And I think South Africa has very much of a culture that's community based, that it's all about community. So if we can build businesses and run businesses that sustain the community and ultimately lead to the greater good of everyone, then I think we're heading in the right direction. And one of the greatest things about a Krispy Kreme is that whenever I've spoken to you, you always emphasize the fact that Krispy Kreme is always about giving back and always giving back to the community around it. So it's cool to see. It's not only just a proclamation with your lips, but it's very much an action with your hands.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously you need to put your money where your mouth is and actually follow through, and can't be lip service. But we only sell donuts and coffee. That's a luxury product. It's a want, not a need. So it's very easy for people to fall out of love with something like that. Whereas the more you make it entrenched as part of a way of life, you know, that it's a default, it's a sweet treat default, that any occasion, celebration, sharing moment that requires a sweet treat, the default is automatically Krispy Kreme, then you minimize that risk of, gee, we only sell donuts and coffee, you know. So that's really the ultimate goal, is to get it entrenched and build the business with the community, and then obviously everyone benefits. Yeah.
And I think it's so true what you're saying now, because I remember I had the opportunity to come and have a look at your production process in Nimbra Park.
Yeah. And
I have a very fond memory of that experience, purely based on how welcoming your staff were to me as a stranger, really. And I remember it was early in the morning, and they were all singing, and it was quite a beautiful experience. Just seeing how community focused even the internal team was. Yeah. They all knew that they were part of something bigger than themselves, and it was quite cool. Even when you went through into the decorating section, where you dip the donuts and everything. I recall a lady there. She showed us the whole process, and it was very hands-on. Almost, it's not me giving you a task and just letting you run with it. It's I'm working beside you, and I'm trying to show you the way in which you should go.
Yeah.
And that's a story that really stands out in my mind. And Krispy Kreme is always, it's not only had a soft spot in my heart just purely because it's delicious, but it's also had a soft spot in my heart just because the culture around it is far bigger than just, like you said, donuts and coffee.
Correct.
It's about the greater community, assisting the greater community, and also just creating a culture where people can go to work every day and actually enjoy what they do and feel like they're part of something that's far greater than themselves.
That's the tough one, but that's what we got to do, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So, Gerry, I really, really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you about Krispy Kreme donuts. I'm a huge fan personally. These are definitely not going to be left untouched. And yeah, I just really, really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. And thank you so much for sharing your insights into Krispy Kreme as a business and what you guys are doing out South Africa and where it's ultimately going. And yeah, I really, really appreciate the opportunity.
We appreciate your consideration, and thanks for thinking of us and accommodating us.
Thank you so much, Gerry. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.